Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is December 26th, 2023, and the Detroit Lions own the NFC North for the first time in franchise history. Last time they won a division, as we said last week, NFC Central, 1993. This is a big deal. I think everyone knows that this isn't the ultimate goal. This isn't something that there's going to be a parade down Woodward for. But it's something to be proud of, okay? To see where this franchise has come from in the past, even in the past decade. You know, how in 2011 they broke that streak. They made the playoffs, and we thought that was going to be the start of something really big. Turned out to not be something big. We had some mediocrity with Caldwell. The Patricia era was a disaster, and now we're here. And we're seeing the fruits of Campbell and Holmes' labor here. Just to go through, what happened on Sunday. Lions win 30-24. Kirby Joseph 2 picks. Brian Branch had a pick, dropped one, almost had 2 picks. Ife Melifonwu seals the game with a pick. Ife, I think, also had 2 sacks in that game. Gibbs had 3. How many touchdowns did he have? He had 3, right?
2.
He had
2 touchdowns.
Montgomery had a touchdown. That's right. And St. Brown had a touchdown. And fun fact, both Jahmyr Gibbs and Brian Branch are up for NFC Defensive Player of the Week or Rookie of the Week?
Rookie of the Week.
I think they're up for Rookie of the Week. So get on Twitter, vote for them. A lot of good came out of this game. Ultimately, they won, right? That's the goal, and they won the game. That's what we care about. There's some concern that hopefully, as James Houston and C.J. Gardner-Johnson come back, maybe some of that can be alleviated. I mean, Justin Jefferson had his way with the Lions. Nick Mullins did throw for 400 yards, but he also threw 4 picks. So were there some ducks thrown? Yes, but the Lions took advantage of the situation. Pavo, you were born 1980. You've been following this team for decades now. You're at pretty much every home and away game. What does this mean to you?
Oh, well, let's see here. How do I want to start this? It's kind of like my emotions have calmed down since this win, because it's a few days ago due to Christmas and family. We both have family things we need to do, and we couldn't hop on here sooner. I woke up on Sunday. It was just it was different when I woke up on Sunday. I woke up with excitement, but I was nervous, and I started bringing in all what this on Sunday, what this day will look like for me, like what it means to me, and it's like sometimes it sounds pathetic to say, hey, we're this excited just to be NFC North champions, but I mean, the history of the Lions and the letdowns of every single year, it's just who we are as Lions fans. We're just waiting to be disappointed. From the time Sheila has taken this team over, she's done stuff for this organization since Sheila has taken over that we've loved, we've liked, that she's done that's different, and you want to believe, but it hasn't happened yet until this past Sunday. So on Sunday when I got up in my morning, I don't know if everyone knows here, I got season tickets when I was in high school, and I begged my parents to let me get season tickets. I started going to some games before then. Not with my parents. My parents are foreign. My parents are from Poland. They're not football fans. I wasn't raised a football fan. I wasn't raised in a house seeing my grandpa cheer for Lions, my dad cheer for Lions. That wasn't on my TV. I just found this infatuation with football. So I got season tickets with 3 friends of mine, and we were in high school, and we started going to games. We couldn't drink. I was actually nervous when I would go to a game inside Detroit Stadium at Pontiac Silverdome and scared I was going to get my ass beat by another Lions fan. Because in Silverdome, man, they were mean to Lions fans, they were mean to away fans, it was not a pleasant place to be at. It was loud. It was exciting, but it was a big drunk fest. So through the years of having tickets, I stuck by the most painful. I saw 0-16. I think 0-16 season. I went to 12 games. I was at just as many games almost as Dan Campbell. I believe he was on a roster. He played in all 16. And so going back just to Sunday, and if I'm blabbing along here telling you, I guess it's just the years of support that standing by this team's side. Like I was at the game when everyone said with, I think, like 11 minutes and 42 seconds against the Bengals for everyone to get up out of their seats and walk out of Ford Field to make a statement. Everything the fans try to do before for Ford Junior, for Ford Senior, my God, why can't Martha?
Martha.
Yeah, it was just years of just being down. So, anyways, going back to Sunday, I woke up Sunday, and I went for a run. I teared up while I was running, like I did. I couldn't control. I just started thinking about, and you know why? We've had chances to win this division before, but this was the first time I actually truly believed that it was going to happen, and when I came back home, and I went to put my game day outfit on. I typically wear a jersey. I put on a sweatshirt that my buddy Matt, who passed away December 30th, it'll be 2 years this year, and he was my ride and die Lions fan. And I had this sweatshirt that me and him bought about 16, 17 years ago. And I don't think I put it on for 12, 13 years. Me and him would always wear it together. We thought we're so cool when we got it. We copied one another. We had season tickets together. We went to games, went to road games together, and I just threw it on. And I don't know what call. I didn't plan it. I just all of a sudden thought, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wear that. I'm going to wear it. And yeah, I mean, so when the game ended, it was emotional, and I don't know if it's emotional because we're NFC North champions or if it's emotional that I'll get to go to Ford Field first time ever for a home playoff game. And I want to see that excitement. I want to see what that is going to be like at Ford Field. I remember going to first Detroit Tigers game against the Yankees in the playoffs for a very long time when they played at Comerica in 2003, whatever year that was for, and what the atmosphere was like in that stadium. So yeah, I mean, this was as sad as it sounds. It was a historic moment for Lions fans. It's gonna be the first time there's a game at Ford Field. To see a head coach come to Detroit and say what he's gonna do and then do it and not be lied to or let down, to see the players come in and believe and deliver. I'm like grateful. I'm thankful. And it's like, sometimes I feel bad for being grateful because I'm like saying like, this is deserved, but like, I don't want to hold this team accountable for all the past failures of GMs and presidents and players, and everyone's saying they're going to change the culture here. And they did not change the culture. They're part of the past culture. So, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for the way the direction is going here. I'm thankful for the footprints that Sheila has put on this team, that Dan has, that Brad, and it feels like everyone is doing it together and everyone believes. So, yeah.
I think what feels like what this does is, when Dan was hired and he had that press conference, and I remember, like, I'm not going to lie to you, because I got they did the press conference. It was like January, whatever it was, 31st or February of 2021. Yeah. It was at like noon, and so I couldn't watch the press conference. I was working, and I remember getting back to my car after work, and there's like 13 text messages in my phone, and people were like, "Could you believe what this fucking idiot said?" And I'm like, "Oh God, what the fuck happened?" And I opened it up. And I watched the full press conference, and I remember thinking, like, in all honesty, like, first of all, I was ready to run through a brick wall because, like, that's my kind of guy. Dan Campbell was a guy I wanted back when he coached the Dolphins, but I also had it in my head that, like, he's probably too raw. We're going to get him too early. It's going to ruin it, right? And so, thankfully, because I'm sure he learned a lot in his, 6 years in New Orleans under Sean Payton. And I just remember thinking, like, this is either going to go really good or really bad. Like, the players, everyone's either going to buy in and like, this is really going to finally change things, or this is going to be a disaster and we're looking for a new head coach in 3 years. But I was optimistic. And like after seeing this, and like I said, the job's not done. I don't think anyone in that locker room is looking at it like the job is done. I think it's a stepping stone. It's something they wanted to achieve, right? It's almost like maybe opening your first business or purchasing your first home. You don't look at that and say like, okay, well, that's all I have to do for the rest of my life. Like, no, there's other things you want, but that's a milestone. And for an organization like this that has not been able to get out of its own way, that has constantly shot itself in the foot on and off the field, to see something like this, yeah, it is amazing. It is incredible. And you do have to, like, I did text some of those people who texted me 3 years ago, 2 years ago, like, hey, this is what that was all about. This, what you're watching, is what that was all about.
Yeah.
Was the game pretty? No. Were the Lions aided by Kirk Cousins not playing? Okay, sure, but like that's just life. Guys get hurt. This is football. We saw it so many times. In 2016, if Stafford doesn't break his fingers, we probably win the division then. But you know what?
Yeah.
He broke his fingers, and we didn't. And no one felt bad for us. Nobody felt bad watching Aaron Rodgers, put on that hat in Ford Field. Nobody felt bad for us when that Hail Mary came down and embarrassed us on national TV. So
Yeah.
you know what? I don't feel bad for anybody else. Vikings fans, you had your fucking moment. You blew it last year. That's your fucking problem. And now you're in hell. And I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
So as Lions fans,
injuries happen.
Injuries happen.
Injuries happen, I mean, Eagles went to the Super Bowl because they played a team without a quarterback.
Is it definitely, if you're breaking this game down as a fan, as a player, as an analyst, whatever, yeah, you could look to a lot of things in this game, and you could say, well, that's a concern. That's going to be a concern come playoffs, or that's going to be a concern against the Cowboys. But you know what? We still won. We won our division. We know we have at least one playoff game, right? We're in the wild card round. We're going to be in Detroit for the wild card round. That makes a world of a difference.
Maybe.
Well, no, at least at a minimum you get one. Okay, you get one home game, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, this is a leg up. What did Dan say in that? What did Dan say when they dropped that video? If we got to go on the road, so be it. But you want to play at home. You want to play at home as much as you can, and they did that, man. And it's not like all of the issues that we saw on Sunday they're not something that like are foreign to us. We know that this pass defense isn't good. We know that. We know that this pass rush isn't great, but they did a lot of little things that, like, okay, you gave up 400 yards, but you also picked off Nick Mullins 4 times. As bad as those balls were thrown, you did the right thing. Aiden didn't get a sack, but he was tipping passes. Other guys, like, they were making the best of the Vikings' mistakes, and that's what you have to do.
But this is not the NFL of 5 years ago, or even 3 years ago, or 10 years ago, with backup quarterbacks that don't even play, can't win in the NFL. It's different now, and I don't know if that's with technology and being able to study tape with the iPads and the Microsoft, like tapes, being able to like get information quicker and process it and see it better for these quarterbacks. Because look at it, O'Connell, backup quarterback, beat Mahomes.
Right.
A backup quarterback in Seattle beat the Eagles the other week. Eagles almost lost to the Giants. You're seeing the Bengals upset teams with backup quarterbacks. You're seeing Tennessee's going through quarterbacks. All over the league, backup quarterbacks are beating good teams. And for the Lions should hold nothing against them for Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins has played in this league. He's been in the league. And Nick Mullins, you know what? He has weapons. Now, they're falling and getting hurt, but like he still has the best receiver in Justin Jefferson. So for the Lions' credit, like, I don't think it's that big of a deal they gave up 400 yards. At the end of the day, Minnesota ran the ball 11 times.
Right.
You're going to give up yards, and they were playing catch up the whole game. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. What the Lions gave up on yards. It's a divisional game. They're playing as much as we're playing for division. They're playing for their lives too. They're going to give it. They're a well-coached team on both sides of the ball. That's a tough place to go play in, and there's a lot of pressure when you're trying to lock up a division. So
yeah.
So I listen. Yeah. But I agree with you. Is there things they need to clean up? Yes.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, when they got those boys up front, those 5 offensive linemen playing together, and Gibbs,
that run on 4th and 2, whatever it was,
yeah,
where he just literally puts a guy into cyberspace. Like, forget breaking ankles. The guy literally just fell over like a tower. That is going to be a run that's going to be a part of that guy's highlight reel 20 years from now. The way we show kids what Barry Sanders looked like. Gibbs, I'm not saying Gibbs is Barry Sanders, but he's got some of these runs that you look at him and you say, how did you do that? How did you do that? You came right out of the hole, and it was like a flick of your wrist. You barely did anything, and you made that guy fall 4 yards off the ball. That guy had no chance.
Listen,
that man's soul left his body.
Everything in my closet is Barry Sanders. I love Barry Sanders. Greatest running back of all time. But the things that Gibbs can do, I know you're a Bijan guy, but even let's say after the preseason, after what we heard about camp, after we saw flashes early in the year, like, a carrier, did you even think he could be this good, this fast? Like this electrifying, making guys miss.
When I watched his film at Alabama and Georgia Tech, because I really didn't see a whole lot of him last year. I'll be honest with you. When I watched his film, I remember thinking, like, yes, initially I was upset. I wanted Bijan. Of course I did. I'm a Texas fan. But I remember watching his film, and what stuck out to me, I don't know if I've said it on here, what sticks out to me with Gibbs is he's got an ability. People compare him to Alvin Kamara. I guess like that skill set of catching balls, but okay, a lot of guys can catch balls. What he reminds me of, and they said it during the game, is like they called him Chris Johnson, but he also reminds me of LaDainian Tomlinson, that he's got an ability to take it from fourth gear back down to second and shoot back up to fourth all over again. Like, he could stop and start. And listen, that comes with some downside, right? Even Barry Sanders had negative rushes, and sometimes that's okay. You got to take the good with the bad. So yeah, there was a couple of times in that game, on second down where I wanted him to go forward, and he probably would have gotten the first. Whatever, he'll work through that. That comes with time. For the most part, he's fantastic. His ability to, like I said, stop and start. His ankles, just like Barry, looks like he's got ball bearings in those ankles. The way he could move. He is a powerful kid too.
You know another thing that he has, if I can't even describe this right, like
he's got vision too. He's got tremendous vision.
The only time there's a lot of contact is when he initiates it. Mm. When he drops a shoulder because he's going to run the guy over. Yeah. And he wants to bounce. Because when there's those players where you're so afraid you're going to miss them and tackle them that you can't just plow them over, that you're just so like, and that's what Barry did. They want to make sure they got their hands on him and not tackle with their body. So he never gets hit hard. And the only time there's a lot of contact with him is when he initiates the contact. And I mean, listen, I'm looking right now, and who knows who's going to get drafted next year. This is the most electrifying running back in the league right now. Gibbs. Yeah. McCaffrey has him on yards, total yards, but McCaffrey, I believe, has almost 90 more carries than him. Like, so
listen, I think it's fair to say, especially everything that McCaffrey's done, McCaffrey's the best runner in the league.
The best running back in the league.
He's the best running back, but he's also been here for a long time. Gibbs is just getting started. He is. Well put here. That's my sports. Our friend Cass, Kings of the North. I get Gibbs' reach pick wasn't too bad now. Cass, couldn't agree more, pal. Couldn't agree more.
He's a game changer. He's an absolute game changer. And you know what? If we want this, so really quick before I was going to say about Gibbs, but talking about winning the North, I right away, before I even got a chance to go start watching what the players are saying in the locker room, what the coaches were saying, because it took me a couple hours. I had to get in the car and start driving 2 hours to my girlfriend's family's house for Christmas Eve dinner. It took me till like the night to actually really get on my phone and look at things. But I remember thinking, I'm like, I hope this isn't good enough for them. Now that I got this, I'm like, I really hope it's not good. But you know what? Really quickly watching what the players are saying, they've convinced me. There's a bigger plan for them. As much as we want to say, hey, it's win to North. And you know what? The Lions started that by what they did. That video they put out right away of Dan Campbell talking to the team, and I'm shocked that on the backboard of their room where they watch film, it says the last time they won a division, 1993, last playoff win, last time they won a championship. Like that's them calling themselves out to their players and saying, that's embarrassing. Look at it. We put it on our walls. We're not hiding from it. We're here to change the culture and the history of this team. And Anzalone said it right away. They asked Anzalone after the game. They said, so now what? What's the next thing you're going to work on? And he's like, well, I guess like now we got to play for seeding. We're playing for seeding. You know, he said there's the next goal right now. You won a division. Now we're playing for seeding. Which is now wide open, right? Because the Niners lost to the Ravens last night. Eagles won. However, the way this works out, Lions have Cowboys next week, Vikings one more time. If the Lions win out, doesn't really matter what the Eagles do. Doesn't at that point the Cowboys couldn't because they would have lost. We would take at a minimum the 2. If we win out, yeah. So right now, Eagles are ahead of us in the standings. If you look at it, they're the 2, we're the 3. Yes. That doesn't mean anything right now because if we win out and the Eagles win out, we're the 2. And the reason is like we're both 3-1 in common games, but we would beat the Cowboys and we'd be 4-1. So we would have the better common game record, and that means we'd beat Dallas. We'd have the tiebreaker over Dallas. Someone told me something about strength of schedule. Does that have anything to do with this? It's strength of victory. Strength of victory. So we're I believe like I'll tell you right now we're like at a 438, but that's for it goes NFC conference record, which would be the same. If we both win out our games, we're 7-3 right now. They're 7-3. We would go to 9-3. Dave would go to 9-3. The next tiebreaker is common games, and we would have a 1 game better lead on them because of common games. And the reason you would say why do we have one more game, and it's because we've played Minnesota twice. They played Minnesota once. So we would have beaten Minnesota twice. They've beaten them once. We beat the Cowboys once. That'd be 3-1 for us. They split with the Cowboys. So that's one loss for them. Okay. Yeah. So and then the other game is we both beat Kansas City. Right. So yeah, so that's where and then we both lost. Essentially, their fate is really in their own hands here. Not so much with the 1. I think the Niners still have the edge on us. If the Niners win out, it doesn't matter what we do. We need the Niners to lose. And if someone thinks the Niners, I believe the Niners could lose in Week 18, and that's because they'll be playing the Rams. Rams in Week 18 or Week 18. In Week 18, the Rams, they have a lot to play for. They might even be playing still to get in the playoffs. If not, they'll probably be playing for seeding, being a 6th or the 7th seed. So yeah, the Rams could beat the Niners. They could. So now, if the Niners win next week, they're locked into. They're locked into the 1 seed if they win next week, right? They can't lock the only way that I just read this. The only way the Niners lock the 1 seed next week is if they win. Lions lose or tie, and the Eagles lose or tie. Okay. If not, they can't. Yeah. If we all win, then the Niners still have to win in Week 18. Okay. Or if they lose, and if the Lions and Eagles, one of them wins, then they don't get the 1 seed. Okay. Got you. The 1 seed most likely will come down to Week 18. Does that mean the Lions are in it? Maybe not. But that probably means the Eagles beat Arizona, and the Eagles still got a shot at the 1 seed. Right. So. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of moving parts. I mean, the job's not like we said. Job's not done. Yeah, go ahead, Paul. Now, here's the interesting part: is if Lions lose to the Cowboys, you're probably locked in at the 3 seed. At that point, it's rest up Week 18. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know. I mean, we'll do a preview show on this. I got a really good feeling about Saturday. I do too. I do too. I don't care that we're in their building, man. Like they've shown flaws just like we've shown flaws, but just like kind of this Vikings game, like I said it to you, and it was I think essentially this somewhat turned into a shootout. Not
as much as like a Seattle game would, but this was a bit of a shootout. I think this Dallas game is going to be I think there's going to be a shootout too. Everybody's talking about Micah Parsons. All right, well, we got Penei Sewell. And if there's anybody in the league,
and we got Decker on the other side.
So if there's anybody in the league you want to line up against Micah Parsons, it's Penei Sewell right now.
Listen, you want to if Micah Parsons wants to come full speed every single time at us, that's fine. Come. We'll just run the ball right at you. And we're going to hit those holes. Because you know what? Right behind you, you got small linebackers. You got Javon Curse playing linebacker. You know, they have two safeties right now are pretty much playing linebacker because both their linebackers are out. They're a small team coming at the linebackers. So Buffalo did to them. And I think Detroit can expose their defense. I think they can totally expose their defense and keep Michael Parsons. First of all, their last 4 games, Cowboys, you know, we can talk about this in a preview. Last 4 games, Cowboys have only 4 sacks, 1 sack in every game.
All the bettors out there, most certainly, I don't care if the over is fucking 61 points, bet the over in this game because I do not think this game's going under. Let's just, for shits and giggles, let's see where it's at. It's at 53.5. I think it still goes over 53.5. I think that's a good number, but I think it goes over 53.5. I think both teams are going to score in the 30s.
Listen, this has to be one of the better Monday Night Football games.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I don't know. Mike McCarthy said this. I think he said this today or yesterday. I think he said this today. He came out and said that out of everything the Cowboys coaches have watched on film, this Lions team is going to be their biggest challenge, especially what they can do on offense. He said more than anyone that we've prepared for.
They haven't played the Ravens yet, right? No sarcasm. I don't think they played the Ravens yet, right?
No, but I just think he's talking about what they can do on offense by spreading you out. J-Mo coming into his own now. That just brings a whole different element now. And you know what? He's playing. People are saying he's a deep threat. He's shown you everything he's not right now, meaning that he could go across the middle. He's making tough catches. He's not dropping catches. Yeah, he got his feet lost on the sideline there for a second, but he's been playing phenomenal, and he's just going to continue getting better with Laporta, Amon, Reynolds, Gibbs, Monty. They have weapons all across.
And that's a 1-2 punch Dallas used to have, and they no longer have it. And, you know, people talked a lot of shit about Zeke, and I'll credit Big Cat because Big Cat was talking about this today on Part of My Take. He was kind of joking about it. He was like, wow, if only the Cowboys had like a big, powerful running back that could barrel through and get them first downs and get them into the end zone. But he's right, man, because Zeke, anybody that says Zeke is washed up, Zeke's not washed up. He's still a damn good running back. Yeah. Is he the guy that maybe his paycheck says he is? Maybe not. Is he the guy that we're used to seeing? No, because he's older and he's a guy that's gotten a lot of carries, but he's still a powerful runner. And I said it when they got rid of him. I said, yeah, Tony Pallard's nice, and he might be more productive right now just because he's younger. Zeke could still power through and get those tough yards. And that's what the Lions have with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. You know, and credit, you know, no one's talking about this, but credit to Jahmyr Gibbs for really taking a lot of that load on Sunday when Monty had to come out after he took that bad hit. I mean, Monty was essentially out for like 2.5 quarters of that game.
But did they ever say why?
No, I didn't hear anything on why.
I don't know. You know what? So when he laid it was him. He dropped the shoulder on the rookie linebacker from Minnesota, and then he went to the sideline. And you saw him kind of like quenching his eyes. But I'm not sure if that was exactly why he didn't, or I don't know if they're just riding the hot hand because Gibbs was hitting every hole.
Yeah,
he could hit, and I don't know. And also, I think that maybe they had this plan like, we're going to use up Gibbs' legs in the second, third quarter, and then we're going to hit you with fresh legs of Monty in the fourth.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, because I said that when I started to see the way the first few weeks of the season went, I was saying that back in September that I wanted to see them utilize Jahmyr more in the middle of the game. Yeah. And then if you're fortunate enough that you have a game in hand, because that was the Lions' problem for years with Stafford. We could take the lead, we just can't hold on to it. Because we got no fourth quarter, we got no 4 minute drop. You know, we were incapable of doing that.
Run
now with Montgomery and Gibbs, but especially Montgomery, late in the game, the defense is exhausted, they're tired, and now there's a 250-pound running back coming up the middle. Like there was a point in that game where I believe, and it's happened a lot this year, where I believe literally Frank Ragnow, if he wanted to, could walk up to the line and say, hey, it's a counter right here. He could literally tell the defense where we're going, and they still wouldn't be able to stop him.
No, they wouldn't. And we were texting one another during the game. I think I messaged you and Pat. Is Monty hurt? Where's Monty?
Yeah.
It was
So,
but I don't. I think there would have been questions. I think we would have heard something, and because it would have been ahead, I don't think so. I really just think that they must have been like, you know what, Monty, because the way Gibbs was
save those legs for January.
save those legs, and we know we're gonna need you in the fourth quarter, and they haven't done that. But listen, it's a perfect combo if you could get away with that. Use them both in the first quarter. If Gibbs is hitting his hole, seeing the field right, let Gibbs take over.
That was such a beautiful game from an offensive standpoint when you're watching the Lions, because was Goff impeccable? No, but he was doing his job. He was hitting the guys when he had to, but we didn't have to lean on Goff to win that game. We leaned on our bread and listen, there were points in this, and I think we just have to accept it. As long as Ben Johnson is the OC here, he's fantastic. He will confuse the hell out of you, but he's also going to play cute. That's just what he does. He's going to play with his food. He doesn't always chew it. I mean, that's what it is, right? And for a period of this game, you felt like we were kind of going back to that, but especially in the fourth quarter.
The pass, I think when 4 minutes left, the pass to Gibbs, with the ball going back behind the line of scrimmage, and he dropped it, Gibbs, and Gibbs had to hit out of bounds. I think we're only up by 5. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh, well,
and then yes,
Kaminsky when he doesn't, and you know he's looking for a scoop and score on that. That's all that was about.
I'm like, this is 30 years. This is 30 years ball on the ball.
But that's instinct. That's instinct. The big man gets a ball in front of him.
I don't know what the fuck was wrong with them getting plays in on that last drive. Like, it wasn't their plays weren't working. They could not get them in, and you saw Golf get frustrated and yell to the sideline. And you know what? I'm going to give them a break on this and hope it's a one-time thing, because there's never been a struggle of communication between Ben Johnson, Jared Goff. They're never burning dumb timeouts. So I don't know what the hell happened there.
I have a question that I did not hear. Now, I didn't listen to the post-game press conference. I heard snippets of the players. Did not see if anyone asked Dan Campbell this. And I'm not accusing the Vikings of anything, but there was a point where Jared got called, his last in the fourth quarter, a delay game penalty, and I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I remember he's yelling at the ref and pointing to the to the play clock, and it looked like he's saying, "Where's the clock? Where are the numbers? Like basically, where are the numbers here? How am I getting called? I can't see it." So either Jared had a brain fart, which is possible, or something was wrong with that play clock, and maybe it was just a point of like Ben told him, "Hey, shut the fuck up, run the next play. Let's get out of here with a win." Blah blah blah. But that was because I do remember. I don't know if you remember this. Maybe 10 years ago, when the Falcons were accused of turning the other team's headsets off.
Yeah, shutting them off, and then
guys were getting delay of game penalties. So like and I don't know if anything ever came out of that, but that seemed to me like what Jared was yelling about. Like, I can't see the play clock. Now, that's something at quarterback you have to get out of your cadence and you have to point at, if that's truly the case. And the referee would stop the game.
And honestly, knowing the Detroit Lions, like, I don't think they're a team, Golf or Dan Campbell, that's going to come out publicly and say that. I think if anything, that's something they'll send to the league quietly.
Yeah,
and say, hey, this is what we had to deal with.
But that was just
something wasn't right. Yeah.
That's just something that I noticed that if I was a reporter, I would have asked him that question just to see.
That last possession before we punted, where it ended up being like 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20. We got two delay game penalties. Couldn't get the ball in. Bad plays, unorganized. Like, I've never seen the Lions so unorganized on a drive that I was like, they're gonna fucking lose this game. They're gonna lose this game. But anyways, but they didn't. But then my beat just started getting faster and faster and harder on defense when they made the plan Kaminsky, and I'm jumping up in joy. And then I'm like, fuck. And then I'm like, okay, it's 3rd and 27.
That's what I said. And I literally said, watch these motherfuckers convert right here. And then they complete the pass to Jefferson, which he's clearly short of, and there's no review. How is there no review on that?
I didn't even catch that.
Oh my god! He was a half a yard short on. I mean, listen, where he caught it, you could see because they had the camera angle was perfect. You see where he catches that ball, and he comes down and moves even further back from it. But where he caught that ball was not it would have been 4th and inches. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, so any Vikings fan that's yelling about that motherfucker. if you guys got the right call there and you spiked it was game over. So
Dan Campbell. They asked Dan Campbell about that play after the game, and I totally forgot the exact way he said it, but you'll kind of get my point, and I'm sure I could find it and maybe post it tomorrow on our Instagram page. They asked them, hey, you let a guy go up and get that catch. How do you defend it? He goes, listen, we had the guy triple teamed. Sometimes great athletes just make great plays.
Yeah.
And then we teach our players, how do you respond on the next play? After that point, it's all about responding on the next play. And that's how they're coached. They don't coach them to be perfect. They coach them to respond. You lose, you respond with a W the next week.
Yeah.
You give up a big play, you respond. And I think that's where that was the key of the thing. That's where the coaching comes with Dan. Like, as a player, you might mess up. You might give a big play. How do you respond?
What was so amazing about that play, and my heart, not that play, but following up to it when they had that big, whatever it was, 30, 40-yard game, and they're coming up to the line, my heart is just like, my wife is like biting the pillow. My dog's confused. He's got no idea why I'm screaming. My buddies, we had our fire department Christmas party the day before, so he's dying of a hangover on my couch. And I'm watching this, and I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, the next pass is either a pick or it's a touchdown. Like that's how this ends. And I said it to Julie before it happened. I was like, there's either a pick or a touchdown. And my heart wasn't like racing. I was just like starting to just like I was deaf. Like I couldn't hear anything.
No, and
like I didn't hear Kenny Albert's call when it's picked off by Iffy Melifonwu. No. Like I just blanked out, and I'm watching that, and I see the ball slowly in the, like, I swear to you, nothing happened. Nothing happened in regular time for me. Everything totally slowed down. And I'm watching that ball, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's a touchdown!" Because Iffy is behind the screen, you don't see Iffy.
Exactly. So that's what I'm going to say. Same thing to me. It slowed down so slow to me that I remember when the ball is moving in the air, and when when Jefferson first come in the screen, I'm like, he's wide open, and then Iffy comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then for his ass to go for the pick, like, I'm mad at him. If I watch again, I'm like, he jumped the route because he could have just knocked it down. But God, I mean that. And then I'm just like, Zoe's going crazy. I'm like, there's no flag.
Where's the flag? Where's the flag? That's exactly what I said.
Like,
where's the flag?
Okay. And I'm like, it's been 10 seconds. There's still no flag. There's probably no flag. Oh, fuck.
Dude.
Man. I was telling Zoe watching the game, I'm like, this game's less than 3.5 hours. I am miserable for 3.5 hours watching this. I'm like, this is not fun. I am miserable. I'm stressed out.
I was stressed.
And it's
I don't know. It was because I was at a point of like, whatever the fuck happens. Like, this is either like I said when Nick Mullins got to the line, I said this is either a touchdown or a pick. That's the only way. He's thrown 3 picks already. And this is either a touchdown or a pick.
He stepped up in that pocket so confident.
And there were so many minute calls in this game. I mean, 2 times they knocked the ball out of his hands. And the same with Jared. Yeah. Jared just got it off in time.
Fuck Jonathan Vilma.
That guy clearly doesn't. Like, I don't think that guy watches anything.
They didn't know what to talk about. Jonathan Vilma, even when they knocked the ball out of Golf's hand and he scooped and scored, and they're showing Jordan Hicks on the sideline, and he's like, "Yeah, Jordan Hicks should be mad. They took a sack and a sack and recovered fumble touchdown away from him." And then finally, what's his name? Ken comes on and says, like, well, it was the correct call. Like, that was the worst. That was the worst.
I couldn't help but think, does Jonathan Vilma have like a unit on the Vikings here? Because he couldn't say anything about the Lions. Now, he didn't even know Jahmyr Gibbs' name. How are you calling games for Fox you don't know Jahmyr? You've already called one of his games.
Listen, they called Laporte and they said it again in the replay. Reynolds. Like, I mean, clearly one's white, one's black. Like, I'm not trying to like in different numbers. Like, how, like, it's as if they didn't prepare for the game at all.
It's like they just showed up and threw a headset.
Through a headset, and then just. And
Kenny Albert's a lot better than that. That really surprised me because he usually does a very. I like when we get him, but no, Jonathan Vilma just sounded terrible. But and
it was awful. And they made more calls. I'm trying to think what the other calls. They said a couple of things. Oh, they're talking about how Minnesota gives no big plays, and then Minnesota gets hit for like a 27-yard pass.
I was also going to say too, Like, hats off. I mean, we said it last week a little about him, but like, holy shit, man. Ife Melifonwu he took this position and he does not want to give it back.
You can't take him off the field right now.
You literally can't. You can't.
They could trust him, and they said you could trust him sending him. You could trust him back in coverage. What is he, 6'3"? He's a big guy.
He's a tall guy, yeah.
Yeah,
he's got some good size to him.
So I think I saw it here. Like, if he stats, like,
I imagine CJ is going to play this week.
So yeah, so Dan Campbell gave two little interviews today. One at 97.1, the ticket, the official station for Detroit Lions, and then he also talked at I think with some reporters briefly, and he talked about two players. He said that CD, I forgot if you call him CD or Deuce or whatever. He said he's close. He said he's very, very close, and and then he said there's a good chance he could play this week. He said we'll see, because today was a walkthrough. We'll see tomorrow how close he really is. And then he said that James Houston is very close to. He wouldn't surprise if he starts practicing this week. Then he kind of went back and changed his words a little bit when he talked to the press about it, and saying we'll see where he is come tomorrow. There's no reason to start his 21 days today because it was a walkthrough. They're not going to start his 21 days in a walkthrough. So if he doesn't start practicing tomorrow, then James Houston probably elevated the following week, which I think that means he probably wouldn't play till the playoffs. Yeah.
Wait, wouldn't play in the playoffs?
Wouldn't play till the playoffs.
Till the playoffs, right.
Yeah, which I would love to see him play, especially in that last game, just to get him
I'd like to see them get a couple reps in. Yeah.
Listen, James Houston's a guy that even playoff time, like, he can make a difference in just playing 10 snaps.
I said it back in September. His 10 snaps are worth more than Charles Harris or Romeo Okwara playing the entire game.
That play, that third and 27 thrown to Jefferson, that play takes about 3 seconds to get rid of the ball. You need a little bit of time. You might not have 3 seconds when James Houston's coming after you.
Exactly.
So that's the kind of plays where James Houston, with his speed, his bend, that he could get to the quarterback so quickly.
If there's anything this coaching that's upset me about this coaching staff, and it's very few and far between, it's honestly been the treatment of James Houston. Because I mean, you've heard this rant from me numerous times. The audience here hasn't. I understand there's flaws in the guy's game. I get it. But and you could show me tape on 8.5 sacks, whatever he had last year, and say, well, he's not really guarded too well here. Okay, but 8 sacks is still 8 sacks, and he did it in 7 games. Like, the fact that there was a possibility he wasn't going to make this team this year was insane to me. Especially when we're looking at Charles Harris do what he's doing right now. When we're looking at Romeo or even Julian at this point, and how in the Seahawks game you got him dropping back into coverage. So my hope is, and now what sucks is where you're going to have to. He's on a 2-year deal, but like we have rights on him next year, so he's not exactly a free agent. So he's probably on the team next year, but it's just one of those things. Like, I wish we really knew what he was by now, but we don't know that. We don't know that because we talked about versatility and all these other things. But what do you need to do? You need to get to the quarterback, and what do we have problems with? Getting to the quarterback. And man, when James Houston finally makes it back on the field, you know who this is going to make a world of a difference to? Not James Houston, but Aiden Hutchinson. And Aleem McNeil and Isaiah Buggs. Because last year when James Houston was eating, everybody was eating.
Yeah.
James Houston is the catalyst for this pass rush.
I feel this team is really good at getting teams at like 2nd and 9, 3rd and 10s. And that's when we give them up, because we are great against stopping the run. Yeah. So we keep teams at long, 2nd and longs, 3rd and longs.
I've never seen such a lopsided defense before. It makes no sense to me how well we are against the run. And I also think part of it, Pavo, is that people are always typically they're playing from behind, or they know they're going to need firepower that day. So teams against us just abandon the run game quick because they know they got to put it in the air.
And they know they got to go score for score with us.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, when we're healthy and we got our full line and we could run the ball and throw the ball, and listen, the Lions could go 35, 40 points on anybody.
Yeah.
So and that's another reason, man. Like if we I mean, being the 2 seed would be so huge for this team. You just never know what happens also in the NFC Championship game. You don't know if that 1 seed, that's San Fran, or if it's the Eagles. Well, it wouldn't be the Eagles if we went out. But if it was San Fran, you never know if they get upset somehow by the Eagles in the second round. Eagles go there, get revenge on them. Anything can happen. But you get in front of that Ford Field crowd, it could.
It's a world of a difference. It's a world of a difference being the 2 seed.
Someone said this the other day, and it wasn't a local person. They said this Lions team has that little bit of that 2021 Cincinnati Bengals feel to them, and I don't know, man. I think this team really believes that they don't want to talk about it, but they got some pretty big goals, and they should right now. And right now, after watching football this past Sunday, watching Lions play, and I watched San Fran just look bad, watch the Eagles continue to look bad, watch the Cowboys look average. Why not? Why can't it be Detroit out of the NFC? Why not?
Yeah, no, I
agree. And you know what I hear from most people here in Philadelphia? Well, they just need some more experience. Every team grows up differently. When the Eagles made the Super Bowl last year, they got rocked the year before by Tampa.
Right.
Like, and that was Tom Brady. Now, they hit the same jump. They went from a 4-win team to a 9-win team, but that 9-win team made the playoffs with Hurts, and then they went to the Super Bowl. Lions, 3-3-1,
which is really why I wanted them to make the playoffs last year. Not so much because I thought they could really, which they were hot, but like I knew that the deficiencies were really clear, but I wanted Aiden to get that out of his system. I wanted all of these young guys to really know what the feeling is. You know what I'm saying?
But this road this year is different than last year.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not telling you
last year. Yeah, last year, and I get it. Last year, if they made the playoffs, yeah, it would take a lot to go win because you didn't have the national hype. You weren't playing on national TVs. All your kickoffs were at 1:00. This year's different. You're putting prime time to start the season. You're putting in Monday Night Football in another category. Your game got flexed against Denver with the whole country watching. You just played another big game against Minnesota. Like you're
flexed against Tampa Bay, really?
Yes, you got flexed before against Tampa. You played it Sunday. You played a Thursday night game against the Packers. You're now going playing Saturday night, Monday Night Football in Dallas, which this Dallas game is a playoff game.
Yeah.
You're right. You're playing this game for the right to host. Listen, you played last week with the right to host 1 playoff game. You're playing this week for the right to host 2 playoff games.
Right. Well, I think you could look at this game as a playoff game that's got a reset button on it. Right. Yeah. And I mean that by it's not the end of the world if you lose. As long as you learn, but we're also at a point of if you lose, now it's going to be really hard to get that 2 seed. So you're really
you're going to be a 3. Yeah,
yeah.
You're probably going to go on the road. If you lose this game, if you win your first playoff game, you're probably heading to Dallas or to Philadelphia for the second round. If you win this game, you're probably but you know what? Listen, I thought that 5th seed team, which would be either Dallas or Philly, whoever doesn't win the division will be the 5. I kept thinking, man, they're going to really just walk through that NFC South game and they're going to win that game. But I'm telling you what, Tampa Bay right now, they're playing really good football.
Yeah.
And if I'm Dallas or
Philly,
they could upset some teams. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. They got a defense. They can run the ball. They can. And right now, Baker Mayfield's playing good. That's not going to be an easy game for Dallas or for Philly to go into. Whoever gets second I mean, as long as they don't fall apart here.
Something to watch here, and I don't think it'll happen, right? Because what's the Falcons' remaining schedule? But if you look
Falcons, I believe the Falcons play.
They don't have to play the Buccaneers, right?
No, I think they play the Buccaneers.
No, they don't. They don't. Buccaneers have the Saints and the Panthers. So, and I don't think it'll happen. But if we look at the Falcons here, if I could pull this up, okay, they play the Bears.
They play the Bears.
They play the Bears Sunday, right?
Well, the Bears are still alive for the playoffs, right?
I think technically, the loser, whoever loses this game, is knocked out.
Yeah.
No, the Bears they have 9 losses. They're if they're not out, they'll be out regardless next week. They've got the Bears and the Saints left. what would be really something special in a beautiful hypothetical scenario would be for the Falcons to catch lightning in a bottle,
And
beat
get
the
the 7th
Bears,
seed?
beat the Saints, be the 7th, and we're the 2. I would
Yeah.
love that. And
Well,
honestly,
I said
I'd love that
last
more
week.
than us being the 1 seed.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think this week you gotta root against Seattle, and I think it starts with we need the Steelers, which they can upset Seattle.
They could. It's not a game I would bet on, but they could.
Yeah, but it's good. Listen, Pittsburgh's playing for the playoffs too, so it's 2 8-7 teams, knowing that if one of them loses, you're probably not. And at this point, those are 2 coaches that you hate betting against, Tomlin and also
and Pete Carroll.
Yeah. And
so
then
now, who do the Rams have?
The Rams play the Giants this week, I believe.
Do they?
It's not an easy game to fly across there.
Yeah, and they're in New York for that game.
Yeah. It's not easy.
That's gonna be an interesting game. I think they'll beat the Giants. I think the Giants.
They should beat them, but you know what? It's not a.
Is DeVito going to start? Why did DeVito come? Oh, he got hurt.
He just couldn't. No, he just couldn't do anything in the first half.
Okay.
So then you got in week 18. Lions could get flexed in week 18 too to Saturday. It's gonna be 2 Saturday games. Let's see here.
Are you sure? I see everything on Sunday.
No, there's 2. There's a 4:30 game and an 8 o'clock, 8:15 game on Saturday. There'll be 2. They did that last year too.
Okay.
So, and I believe last year, I think they put teams that were playing for seeding in those games. You got 2 not that we're getting off topic of the Lions, but you have 2 games that can mean a lot. I mean, there's more than a couple, but 2 games head to head. The Texans-Colts game could be for first if Jacksonville continues to fall apart. And then the other game that can mean a lot would be
Rams Niners.
Rams Niners.
Eagles Giants could.
Falcon Saints. Falcon Saints could be both playing for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of scenarios
for the
here.
7th
I don't know
seed.
that they'll give us prime time again.
I don't think we'll get
Browns Bengals is actually no, because the Bengals are kind of out.
But hold on, what if this is a what if? What if we win this week? Right?
Yeah.
And then they put on Saturday at 4:30 Lions Vikings. So if the Lions lose, San Fran needs to win on prime time for the 1 seed. If they lose, the Lions are the 1 seed. And the Rams might need to win that game to get in the playoffs.
So you're saying make the Vikings Lions game 4:30.
The 4 o'clock.
And then the 8 o'clock the Niners game.
San Fran, Niners, Rams, yeah.
And where is that game? Well, it doesn't matter. West Coast. Okay, they're both West Coast. I guess you could do that. Hey, listen. Let's talk about this off air.
Right.
Do we have anything else here?
No, I think I'm good.
All right.
Yep.
We will do a preview show for the Cowboys game. Either I have to
Thursday.
see Thursday maybe. Okay,
Thursday
or Friday. Yeah. All right. So everyone, stay tuned on the socials. Sunny Days in Detroit on Instagram and Twitter. Follow us. We always post when we're going live. We usually post a couple hours before. If I could get a chance to post a day before or something, that would be great. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you later this week. Go Lions. One Pride.
One Pride, baby.